Hey guys, Stellar here. I'm back with some more salted tea for you guys, and today's tea is just going to be me rambling about some of the things that I saw Truthfully Toxic talking about on her live stream today, May 4th, 2020. I have to put the date in there because sometimes I put the videos up a day later and then people are like, what'd she say yesterday? So today is May 4th, 2020. There you go. All right, so I tuned in and then I tuned out, and then I tuned back in again, eyes rolling to the back of my head. And I'm thinking, here we go, once again with the whole Dr. Phil episode. Oh my gosh, will this woman ever let the Dr. Phil episodes go? Now, I know it's her one claim to fame, but we've heard it all before. And it's like, why? Why keep on rehashing that? Why keep on going down that road again and again and again? And I understand that she's trying to prove to everybody, I'm no longer the person that I was on Dr. Phil. You ask me, you want my opinion. The only thing that has changed since Dr. Phil is her weight, her hair, and her marital status. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I still think she's the same person, same exact person. I don't see that anything has changed. That's my opinion. She may see things differently. That's fine. But from a viewer, an outsider looking in, I don't think she's changed. And that's my opinion of it. And that's that. All right. So anyhow, as I'm watching this, and I see she's going back to the interaction with the one and only Wendy. And I'm thinking, what? Here we go again. Wendy does not talk about her, okay? Wendy hasn't mentioned her. Wendy does not know. Don't waste your time on her. So as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, what is the end game here? And then I thought about it. I thought, I gotcha. I see where this is going. I gotcha. I see what's going on here. You're going to talk about Wendy to provoke Wendy and hopefully get a reaction where Diane and Wendy talk about her on their live stream. Oh my goodness, makes perfect sense, right? Right? Come on, stop and think about it. Lately, there's been a lot of rehashing of old drama. And I mean, isn't that a perfect opportunity? Bring up the past so you get the spotlight on a live stream rehashing the old crap, like what's been going on. We've seen it. It's going on. I mean, this is a drama community. The drama never goes away. But here, Truthfully Toxic is saying, I don't want to be in the drama, but yet she's rehashing stuff with Wendy, who does drama live streams. They have no shame in saying that. They do dramatic live streams. So I'm like, I get it. But what Truthfully Toxic fails to understand that people, the OGs, if you will, of the community, are over her, don't want to talk about her. They have had their round and round and rounds with her. Nothing ever gets resolved. Well, really, does anything ever get resolved? No, because here they are rehashing old stuff. Nothing gets resolved in this community. But when it comes to Truthfully Toxic, nobody wants to go down that route. Nobody wants to bring her up. Nobody wants to rehash anything with her. They are over her. They don't talk about her. Honestly, seriously, they don't. Now, I know my friend Randy, she put out a tweet a few days ago, and she said, who's tired of hearing about TT? And of course, people were commenting, and me, and I'd be like, oh, my bad, because I, being one of the quote-unquote OGs, because I've been around for a while too, so yeah, I consider myself an OG, and, I said, oh, my bad, because I am one of the OGs that continuously talks about Truthfully Toxic. Why? I don't know. She intrigues me. But I can honestly say, let me clarify. She intrigues me, but not in a good way, okay? I'm like, ooh, contradiction, lie, contradiction. Ooh, delusion. Ooh, contradiction. That's the way I look at her, okay? It's not like I'm, oh my God, I want to be like her. She's so fabulous. I'm so envious. Sorry, somebody just started some noise in the background, so if you hear the noise. Yeah, so I'm intrigued, but not in a good way. But I can honestly say I've never had any kind of beef with anybody. I watch, I lurk, but nobody's really grabbed my attention to the point where I want to invest my time in making videos. As far as Truthfully Toxic goes, yeah, maybe I do that too much, but whatever. I'm not going to change. This is me. This is something I like to do. So I'm just like, you know what, screw it. You're too old to care who likes your stuff or doesn't. They can watch, they don't have to watch, they can tune me out, whatever. I'm going to say what I got to say. But that's okay. I know the OGs love me. I know it. I know it. And I love you guys too. Okay, so anyhow, sidetrack Sally here. So as I'm seeing this, unfold, and she's going down the Dr. Phil route and talking about Wendy and rehashing all of that was what had happened in that segment. There was a woman, her name was Ron-Dee. She is no longer with us. She took her own life. And there were a lot of rumors that Truthfully Toxic had something to do with that. And, this is not something I talk about. Suicide is something very touchy for me. I've dealt with it a lot in my life. And so I've never talked about this. And one thing I will say in the defense of Truthfully Toxic, I don't think you can put that on her. And I don't think it's fair that it has been put on her. Now, granted, I can say maybe she pushed her a little bit further by doing what happened with this video, the video that was talked about on Dr. Phil, where Truthfully Toxic herself has admitted that she recorded a video with this friend of hers being in her house. She was drunken, belligerent, and she recorded a video for her own safety. Now, I heard in this morning's stream where Truthfully Toxic said that Wendy insinuated that her daughter recorded the video. And Truthfully Toxic was like, how do you know what happened in my house? I'm like, well, because you have said that. You yourself have told the audiences in the live streams that you had your daughter record the video. And that's from what she said. I don't know. I don't live in her house. So anyhow, she was getting on Wendy saying, how does she know? But that is a statement that came out of Truthfully Toxic's mouth. So anyhow, the woman was drunk. The video was created. And that's what was talked about on Dr. Phil. And as I'm thinking back to that situation, I'm thinking, okay, this morning, Truthfully Toxic is telling her viewers, the people in her chat, I never shared that video with anyone. I didn't post it. It got leaked. Just like her nudes, everything gets leaked. Anything this woman does gets leaked. She didn't leak it, but I have heard her admit to sending it to someone. And I guess maybe it was that someone that she's trying to say leaked it. Aside from all of that, as she's sitting here this morning saying, I never shared it with anybody. I'm like, are you kidding me? You were on a live stream sharing the video from your phone. She was playing it for a room full of people on a live stream. So when she sits there this morning and says, I never showed it to anybody. No, maybe you didn't show it to crowds of people while the woman was alive, but you did it afterwards. Is that not more disrespectful? Why? Why in the world do that? Why in the world do that? Okay, because she had to pronounce her innocence. What does it matter? This is a group full of strangers. It does not matter. So this is the part of her story, her schmeal, her shtick that makes me upset. She's constantly saying, I don't care what the haters think about me. I don't care. But yet has to continuously, I have to defend myself. I have to prove. No, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Just this morning with the garden. Look at the garden I made. She falls into the trap of the trolls. I do this myself. I am guilty of this and I will admit to it because I don't have a problem admitting to it because I already know. I've dealt with a person just like her before. You put a little seed and then they'll take it. You insinuate something and then they'll have to prove you wrong. That's what a narcissist does. My opinion again. So anyhow, this morning, back to the stream, and I'm watching that, and I'm like, what? Of course, I'm like screaming at my screen saying, are you kidding me? You played that for a group of strangers, a live stream for strangers. And ask me, she got baited into that as well. I'm going to play a clip here because this is something that really stood out to me today. Because I've heard all the other stuff. All the other stuff was just round and round and round. I'm like, oh, whatever. But she said something in her live stream this morning that really stood out to me. And I'm going to play that clip right now. This falls under fair use. This is fair use for commentary because I'm going to drop this in here and I'm going to commentate on it. Because there's a point to be made here. So I'm going to play the clip and then I'm going to talk about it.
When you see someone going through something really bad, you have to call for help. You have to call for help. You have to call for help. You have to. And regardless of how it turns out, that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not any of those things, but I rest in knowing I called for help because somebody needed help.
Okay, did you hear what she said here? If there is somebody in need, you need to call for help. You must call for help. You need to call for help. You need to call for help. Now, granted, she is trying to justify what happened with the whole situation with Ron-Dee. Ron-Dee was in her house. She was drunk. Truthfully Toxic called the ambulance. The ambulance, the police, whoever showed up. So that's what she's trying to justify. And that's her whole point, I guess, was showing the video, how drunk she was, and that she called the authorities on this woman who was in her house. But she says there, if you see somebody who needs help, you need to call for help. Okay, now this is where my kicker comes in right here, okay? This is where I'm going to debunk a lot of the bullshit that's been happening in this quote-unquote drama community. She herself says, if you see somebody in help, you need to call. You need to call. Now let me point out the complete and total hypocrisy there. The night of the bloody live stream that Truthfully Toxic did, okay? I was in that live stream. Tell you guys, I'm an OG. Go way back. When I tuned in, I saw her acting a fool. I tuned out, lived a little bit of my life, tuned back in. When I tuned in later, she was covered in blood. I didn't know what had transpired before all of that, any of that. And I just thought to myself, oh my God, did she flip her lid? Did she wipe out her family? Did she hurt herself? What is going on? I was watching in total shock and I had no idea what was going on. I walked into a chat room where people were saying, please, somebody call, get her help, get her husband on the phone. Her husband was in Atlanta at the time, I believe, and I don't think anybody was home. People in the chat were saying, somebody call 911. Does anybody know her address? Does anybody have a friend? Please, somebody is in dire need. They need help. Somebody, please get them help. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see where I'm going with this? People who were tuned in to this woman's live stream, Truthfully Toxic's live stream, saw a person in need of help and they called and reached out to the authorities. So by what she just said this morning, does that not fall under the same theory that she has right there in that clip I just played? If somebody is in need of help, call and get them help. For that room of people in the chat, they did not know what was going on, myself included. I was even saying, oh my gosh, if anybody can get her help, please get her help. Get her help. I don't know what's happening here. And the next day I found out it was all faked, all staged. She was reliving some kind of memory, whatever but it was all fake. It was all fake. Because I remember tuning in at the very end and she was in the bathtub and acting like, oh, what? What? Hours have passed? I didn't know what happened. I was like, oh my God, are you freaking serious right now? And the same thing happened on Memorial Day weekend when she flipped out again. And her friend at the time, Mandy, Makeup by Mandy, was trying to stop her and get her help, and she couldn't. And just like now, when she's doing these drunken streams, and I'm talking about Truthfully Toxic, when she does these drunken streams and people are saying, get her help, somebody get her help, get her help, get her help, call somebody, help her. And they've had cops called, go to check on her, do a welfare check. But now all of a sudden, those people are in the wrong for doing that. Yet this woman herself has said, I had to call the authorities because that's what you do when somebody is in need of help. Oh, but the hypocrisy. Do you see the hypocrisy? Now, I'm not for anybody crossing over into real life, especially when it comes to here social media. So I'm so sure somebody's going to throw that in my face and say, oh, but she was actually friends with her in real life. She knew this woman in real life. Well, there's a lot of people who believe they are on that real life friend level with Truthfully Toxic. So if they call, I mean, isn't that being concerned for your friend? So anyhow, my whole point really, I mean, if you really want to know, is this community, quote unquote community, is full of hypocrisy. And it's like, oh, I can do it, but you can't do it. Oh, well, I said it for myself, but I wasn't really talking about that situation. My situation is whole different. It's not different. It's not different. If this woman today is saying, oh, well, I called on her because she needed help, and we got this whole community that wants to bash on people, oh, well, so-and-so called on truthfully toxic, they called the cops, and oh, remember this was done and this was done. What's the difference? How is it okay? How are people going to say, oh, it's okay, she called the authorities on a friend because she was drunk, but these strangers out here, they don't need to be calling anybody? Well, with that said, the strangers out here didn't need to see that video, didn't need to know the story about Ron-Dee and what happened with this poor woman who should be left alone to be resting in peace. But anyhow, that's all I have to say about that. I just want to point out the hypocrisy. Truthfully Toxic herself is saying, if you see somebody in help, you need to reach out and get them help. And then in another breath, she'll be like, oh, you guys have no business calling on me. Yeah, you can't have it both ways. But in the end, it's the hypocrisy that runs this community. That's for sure. Anyhow, that's all I have to say about any of that. Remember, each and every one of you are awesome. Now go out there and make it a stellar day.